a Swedish military helicopter comes into land after a reconnaissance flight over the Baltic. It's working in tandem with the warship HMS Karlskrona on a NATO mission to prevent sabotage. Operation Baltic Sentry was launched in response to data cables being cut and pipelines damaged on the seabed.
I will be designated in a certain area and hopefully deter any aggression towards the critical underwater infrastructure. I will contribute with surveillance task, and now I do it in a NATO task group, and to share that picture.
That picture seems to include more incidents since Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
I've been in the Navy since the early 1990s. I've never come across such incidents as the ones that we've seen from the Nord Stream up until today.
Suspected sabotage of Russia's Nord Stream pipelines in 2022 was the first major incident to draw the attention of NATO states around the Baltic. It remains unclear who was behind it. In January, the Bulgaria-owned Vezhen was seized for damaging cables in Swedish waters, the latest of several incidents since November last year. A prosecutor later ordered it to be released. It's been very hard to prove that the cables under the Baltic are being sabotaged, but the NATO commander aboard this vessel is in little doubt about what's happening. Some of the cables have been cut by ships dragging their anchor on the seabed for up to 100 kilometres, according to investigators in NATO countries.
A lot of accidents happening in a very short time after each other. It's hard for me to believe that. Obviously there is something happening in the Baltic. I've been at sea for a very long time now, and I've never dragged my anchor. There isn't a reason to do so.
Incidents have also involved the so-called shadow fleet, old, poorly maintained vessels that Russia allegedly uses to bypass sanctions imposed over its war in Ukraine.
The shadow fleet is a very vague concept, but what we have seen is that ships going to and from Russian ports having less quality now compared to before, because there are a limited number of ship owners that are interested in taking that kind of cargo. And that means that there are more likely future safety incidents.
Investigations of seized vessels have cited weather conditions and poor seamanship as reasons for cable damage. But for NATO officers integrating Sweden into their operations, that argument isn't holding much water.